Hi everyone, it's Angelona on Mima. I am not feeling well. I'm severely under attack. I exposed something very sensitive today as I was trying to, my intention, God is my witness, my intention was just to filter the people yesterday I asked who uh, will want to help me, like help simulate Bilal because performance-wise he has problems and, they did some energy swapping work and a lot of astrology, scientific work to alter his mind, MK Ultra and all that. So I needed someone who was good in that and who can help me. And I got names and I started to, check them out energetically. And I came to find out because I was tapping so deep for them into them if they're really compatible to my child. And I found some other secrets that were connected to these people. Some people didn't even know they were even attacked. Some people didn't know that they were sabotaging themselves because of the connections they had. By doing that and speaking the truth and trying to tell them, you need to free yourself and this and that. I think one of those people, or those people, because I have people stalking me, I think it can be maybe the enemy who has been doing this to them turned against me and said, I'm telling you, you're going to see such episodes because I'm really like, I have someone really like protecting me. I can feel it's an energy of a man and a woman. They're fighting to protect this attack from really like hitting me. And so I get this like, because they're one wants to attack me and they're fighting and my guides are here too. So my aura is like shaken. And suddenly you can just say, I feel sick. I feel sick. They started to attack Bilal. He stopped. He was starting to cough, and now he's much better. But with me, oh my God, my head is cracking, and I can even feel that the attack. I'm glad tomorrow I have no classes, but I'll have to take medicine. I can't sleep this way because I know if I reach 2 a.m., I'll be somebody else. The way I'm feeling is a lot of vibration, so much. So there's a fight like going on right now. I'm just trying to be strong because I gave my word. Okay, I said, okay, I'll just give this information. Another thing also, my guides came to they told me like, do not share everything. It can lead you to be killed, like literally killed. Do not share everything. Be mindful what to say. They told me what I can share, what I should not share. Kabbalah. So I will have a filter. I will give the information, and there's some things I can't say. So we're gonna start just in general. At this point, we have, because I was collecting all the data, the most intense day in this year is one of the most intense, but this plays a very big role. It's on 20th January. And the reason why is because Pluto officially returns to Aquarius, marking the final time the planets of secret powers, technology, revolution, change. For 15 years, it will be dancing there. And do you remember I gave you my own example since I left Kenya 2007. 2008, I stepped here. To date, I can't work normal job. My son is turning 15 next year. 2008 is the time I became pregnant of him. So 15 good years now, because he's turning next year 15, and next month 15, Milan. And during this transit, my aspect, I was severely affected when it came to my work. Remember, Pluto rules technology. I was extremely good in programming. I was programming like crazy. I'm telling you, the way I'm always business oriented, I used to make money in the most, I don't know. My guides would I was just like that because I will always get ideas, I do them, and my guides will always be there. Since that's why I said, since I was a kid, my life was always paranormal, very, very different. So I was making projects, even the ones I did as a test in, as a for exams in college. I twisted it and sold it. I was just doing, and I was doing it for fun because I was working after immediately. I've not even received my results. I got a job. I started working part time. I was doing filming since I was 16. I was in school. I was filming weddings. I was getting contracts for hotels and this and that. And parties. Sometimes people just want the intro, so I'll just go for site viewing and I make videos and I earn money for that. And when I came to learn programming, and most people were not so much into it at that time, as in our age. So I took advantage of that too. And I was selling those projects. I was doing programming, going to the computers. I was helping them set it up. I give them the manual if they want to refer to anything in case. And I sold stock control for a small supermarket. I sold two to a hotel where I was also making videos. They gave me contracts. I sold two for them for the kitchen stock control also. And that was the time I didn't know much about trading, but I used just to see on the TV and the CNN, and I was very curious, so I paid a little attention to it, but then I don't want to go deeper into that part. But all in all, I was selling this project. I went to some few dispensaries and I will sell them for cards when the doctors come in, when the patients come in and that. So I was making deals. I was someone who was always, I was never broke, alhamdulillah. I was always moving and here and there. But 2008, that door was locked. Because I went deeper and deeper and deeper, and then I tapped into now minerals. When my chart was activated, I started to deal with things which come from underground. So I was curious more of oil, gemstones, and such things. And I had a good boss back then in Kenya where I was working, and I was his assistant, and they trusted me a lot. So when their children had a course, they were doing a course online from it was from because it was only South Africa that was offering the gem course, and they were doing it. So I will take a glimpse, and they will even give me books. I will sit and read, and I'm a quick learner, alhamdulillah. I learn very quickly. So that's how I came to learn so many things about gemstone crystals and this and that. And I started diving now into the whatever mineral stuff which comes from underground, oil, gemstones, cobalt, and all that. I had connections, so many connections, and that's why when my clone came in, was taking over my connections, and they tried to censor me in every way. Anyway, all this happened, and even after 2008, those are the things I could do, but I was not able to work anymore in my tech world, like to create programs and such things. I could not do them anymore. And that's a very good example. So you're going to see people's lives are going to be changed. A career that you had maybe making money a lot, suddenly this door can be shut. But it depends. Everybody has a different aspect. Everyone has a different aspect. But there will be like a revolution, a change, a death of something in your life, and it will never come back. So in my aspect, 15 years ago, that is what happened. When it started its transit in Capricorn, I was hit so bad. I was like, no, the tech world, forget it. First, you're going to be a mama. So that transit, even on my chart, you'll see I was ready to conceive. And for those who have been following my work, you have seen when I was posting about my firstborn and how the effect was tsunami and all this, the scientific part of it, astrologically, You could see even the death of my second child I was already given, but nobody will have noticed because that's a way you decode. It's one of the secrets I learned from my guides, and it doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen all the time. It's something very rare. I can say it's more like a gift from God. He was preparing me because when I lost the first one, I was just told, relax, you're going to get the second one on this day, and this child is going to be a Pisces. And exactly that time is exactly I gave birth to that child, Bilal. Same date, zodiac, everything. It fell exactly, even the year Bilal was born. So such things can happen if you know and you have really tapped into the other realm. Subhanallah, God can show you stuff that you don't even expect. So for me, my transit was, I had to lose something to gain something. I lived with a scar because after the first one was gone. So I've always longed to have another one around me. To an extent, I even took my brother's son here because I was so bored. And Amin, my brother's firstborn, was living with me for a very long time. That's why I had even photos. He was with me almost a year. For almost 1 year, he was keeping me busy. And he was a toddler. Until I conceived, I even gave birth to Bilal. That's when my brother now said, okay, you have your baby now, you can give me mine. Because he gave me as a comfort. It was really affecting me. So I had to lose one aspect of my life that was keeping me busy, but I had to gain a gift from God that was staying with me forever. So for many people that will happen. Maybe you are single, you will have maybe to leave your country. And that happened to me 15 years ago. My chart had to push me that for the next decade and a half, you're going to be out of your country, and even maybe more. But you will never leave where you are. Everything is going to change in your life. So you will see many people, their life is about to take a big death. It's a transformation. It's the revolution personally, which means someone will be forced to leave a country. Not forced, but it's the circumstances that are going to be manifesting in your life. Either you're going to get a job and you'll have to leave your country to go to somewhere else. For others, and by you shifting, remember what is dying? Your old life, your lifestyle, your job. Maybe others can be marriage. Maybe you are a young girl, you have always been home, you're around your family. Now, things, when this happened, this transit, after 20th, it doesn't happen overnight. But for me, for example, when this happened, I was, it took place in like 25th January 2008. And in the month after few months, that's when I became pregnant. So it's not going to happen immediately because Pluto is also a heavy planet, and as you know, it's a powerful and very secretive planet. You can't tap even into it at all, but you will feel that effect. From now, it's like poof, the bomb is on, and then you're going to see the transit happening. For some, it's going to be depending on your chart. If you know how to read your chart, check the aspect, but this is how it's going to affect you. You might have to leave a country, go and live somewhere else for good. For others, it's a divorce. If you have been living with a partner or someone around you, you will be parted away. It's like a crack will happen and you'll have to part ways. Where you're going to go, maybe you're going to get something better or you're going to get somebody else. But there will have to be a death, a transformation, a revolution for you to survive or for you to go to that next phase. If you're stuck here and you're trying to control that energy, then the whole thing is going to crash down. Because where you're going to, for example, you are supposed to travel. No, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I want to be here. I'm used to this place. I can't accept the change. That place, everything energetically is dead. So you will be struggling a lot in that location. Nothing will work until you accept the fate of the transit that you'll have to shift. Then you're going to see the changes. That's an example. For others, as I said, you might behave, maybe you're a young woman, young man, still living with your family, or even if you're living alone. And with this aspect, you're going to see there is something you'll have to leave. Even if it's to leave that apartment you are living in, you'll have to move out. So we'll see there's a lot of movement, migration, shifting of one location to the other, and mostly it's long distance. This can also affect like continents, living from one continent to other. For others, it's country. For others, in the mildest way, it's just maybe changing an address or a town. But most effects of Pluto, because it's a very huge planet, it will shift you to a whole new level, like timeline. You have to move to a whole geographic. It moves people to a different geographical location. That's the push of it. For example, depending on where your house is. For others, it's you now going back. Maybe you are living in a place, and with this aspect, it will be like the doors closed back home. So you might be living in a foreign country and you have to go back home, or something of that dynamic. Or you're living from one country, you're going to be living in another country, such kind of stuff. As I said, for others, this is the time you will have to part ways with the people who gave birth to you or raised you. For example, if you're still young and you are ripe now for marriage or moving for studies, then you will be forced. This energy will push you to move away from the people who have always been close to you. It will cause that revolution. There will be a downfall of something and for something to uprise. And marriage can be significant, and if you are to get married, just know there's a baby on board. Mostly it's like that. When Pluto shifts you, for example, brings you into union, there is always something productive to give, especially if you're compatible. If you're not compatible and you have, let's say, manipulated the energy for you to get what you wanted to get, Pluto will destroy it. And that's why have you ever seen, like, there are people who are very wealthy, for example, and they end up getting married. Everything looks okay, maybe even someone is very much okay. Energetically, they're not compatible. Or one of them has manipulated the situation to get that union, even if it's a contract, any type of union. But let's talk about this person, let's say, is very wealthy. And because they forced a situation and they got into that union, let's say, be it male or female, whoever has done that, you knew you are not supposed to do anything. Unions are supposed to be very divine. If it's work, if it's anything. Yeah, it's healthy to be competitive, but you're not supposed to do anything that will tamper with the frequency and the timeline of that phase. So in case you have done, let's say you did a love spell and this person fell on you, oh, and you married and this and that. What Pluto will give you is it will burn everything. So let's say this person was very rich, you ended up doing spells, he fell in love with you without you knowing, and the moment you come to union together, you're going to be the source of his bankruptcy, and your lives will never be the same. This is whereby you'll see people come into union. Not all, for some it's just God's will, but for mostly these people who tamper with this timeline, especially when a big shift like this happens, these people end up having children who are not normal. Subhanallah. They're not normal, like handicapped, or they can be like special cases. Not, I'm telling you, some are just God's will, but mostly for those who have tampered energies in this timeline, I mean, in this phase of this timeline when the frequency is changing, this is what happens. So they end up having children who are looking retarded or such, maybe, And when it comes to the business world, this man or wealth, maybe they've been running for generation, it crashes. It's like a whole empire crashes. Everything will crash because there was abuse and someone did not pay attention to it because they fell, or they, out of desperation, they fell into the trap and it happened. A good example I'll also give you. Back then in Great Britain, whereby they were extremely powerful. It was the most biggest empire and very powerful empire back then. But sadly, because the king was extremely powerful, there were some like minute details he didn't pay attention to, which created stress on him. That is the George Frederick William. And it started to cause, he started, like becoming paranoid. Because when you have too much power and you feel like, I have to put this in order and this and this and this. No, 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 no. And they had to keep a reputation. So without even paying attention, because of the destruction also around him. Yes, there was a little bit of destruction. It's always known from the time of Prophet Adam. Women, women, we are known for every good thing and every bad thing. Temptation. So these are the secrets that I wanted to send. Like, I will not go deeper into it, but there were concubines. There were women which were being sent to the George, the King George of Britain, and these women were like spies. They were literally like spies, and he will play around with them, and some of them were involved even in manipulative type of energies. So they will take things from him, his body parts. This is all from my guides. That's what I'm saying I won't tap deeply, and they told me do not share everything because you can easily be killed. These are top secrets that hold kingdoms. So there were concubines which were sent to the king George III, William Frederick, and these women will woo him to sleep with him secretly, but they were the intention, because their plan was not that they loved the king, but he was, because he had power, he was easily tempted by women. His weakness was women. So someone close knew about it, and because of that weakness, they used to send him the most beautiful and very seductive women to collect data, to collect secrets of the kingdom, and even some stuff which were from his body part. And they worked on it. They started working on that king. To break a kingdom, of course, it's a woman who it's Eve, Hawa, that took Adam out of heaven. That's what we say. But even in Islam, we say it took Khadija to beat the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we have Kami Khadijas here, so please keep it. And we also have good Hawas and Eve. It's the same thing. It took Isis Osiris to rebuild each other after the destruction. So there are good women and bad women. Delilah destroyed Samson. So they use that type of theory to get into the skin of the King of Britain, got the information, and started working with extreme big warlocks. These warlocks betrayed him. Now, this is why I say these are secrets, and if I speak much, I can be killed. I'm going to be honest. And I don't want to be judged that I'm attacking a religion, no. But I have to be very careful what I'm saying. And I don't want to be judged, please. I'm giving the message as how they teach, they give it to me, and the importance of this. Why all this I'm telling you now? Because this history is about to repeat itself in a grand scale. So we can save many nations, we can save many places. All in all, so once they got what they wanted, data, they got his body fluids and everything, they started to work on him spiritually and even selling his information way back to USA. So while he started to have these episodes, people started to notice he was not okay. That, according to science, they said it's a genetical blood disorder that brought the bipolar. But that is not true. That's not true. And I will explain exactly what happened. When they worked on him, the biggest betrayal came from because he needed help. People noticed that he is not being okay, and the fact that Britain was extremely great that time, very powerful. They sought to get prayers for him and people to pray for him and so on and so forth. You'll understand now why all this affected even the Rome Empire. So he used to get from his own chapel, from his own priest, because all these kings had their own priests who were praying for them and like sages and doing everything. He was not getting better. He was not getting better. And sadly, it went as far as they had to ask for help now from the main source where the main church is. And that is where the abuse of the church came on board. The warlocks who are connected with the concubines, who have done those spells, betrayed the caravan which was coming towards Britain to come and help him. They wanted to really like pray because they said maybe he exhausts him, or he needs like proper help from the holy church and all that. While the caravan, the priest did the right thing. He sent out a team heading towards UK, England, to go and help him. That caravan was attacked. When that caravan was attacked, they stole everything. And these were that team of warlocks who were working with the concubines paid by the enemies to destroy him. They dressed up and pretended it was warlocks. They pretended that they come from the Holy Church, Vatican, had access directly to him. And when you want to do something to harm someone and you are extremely close to one another, what happens? You have the right target. So they posed like they were the healers there and the sages and this and that. Little did they know, around that group, it was warlocks who came face to face with him and betrayed him. Instead of healing him, they made it even worse. So he started to be, it's like he got worse, and because they also worked with his body fluid, he ended up having problems urinating. If you check his history, I checked when my guides told me, I checked, and I was shocked to find out it was true. He started having problems with his own manhood, like the urinary tract. And the reason how they attacked him there is because of the liquids that those women were sent to collect it, so that they can ruin him. The plan was to destroy him, not to have more, like to have generation, more and more children. He had already 15, but 13 survived to adulthood. The 3, he lost them. So out of this, but they were trying every way to break him down. So making a man sick and very uncomfortable down there, that's already a distraction, because how will this person concentrate when they feel sick down there? So he got sick. He sought help everywhere. And he got medicine which did not cure him. But now the madness was like really on, because now they were even like officially declaring him the mad king. They was calling him, because they wanted to ruin your reputation. One thing, if you don't know, if someone wants to ruin you when you're a powerful person, especially if you have a very strong personality, someone will not kill you directly first, because even if they kill you directly, you are still going to be a legend, right? So first, the politic behind it was to kill his name. So what they did, they killed his name by calling him the Mad King. He was not mad. He was severely attacked, and one of the worst part is he came eye to eye with the biggest warlock, who posed as a priest or a sage, whoever who came to heal him from the Vatican Church. It was the abuse of the church. Not the fault of the church, remember? It was abused. The caravan came, those people were killed, and they were represented by the wrong people. Remember, back then there was nothing like telephone and such. It was letters. So yeah, he knew those people were going, and they were going to the king, so there was protection. But halfway, these people had all the info, and they destroyed the right people and sent the wrong group there. So the plan was to kill the name of that king. When we kill the name and then you kill the person, he's not a legend. So that is why until today we hear George III, the Mad King. No, it was because they had to kill the name first before they kill him. And it's always like that. If you're a legend, someone will kill you. I'm going to give you an example. I come here, air my work. I mind my business. I'm celebrating. I'm always isolated. I don't have friends and this and that. Somebody's out there calling me every kind of shit. She's a troublemaker. She kills people with spells. She's a witch. Oh, Mima is a lesbian. And this and that. And when they saw it's not getting into me, they went for my child. Even to school to ruin that. Why? If someone wants to destroy you, first they go for your name. Then they come and finish you. You understand? So this is what happened to the George, King George III. When this incident happened now, and he became now severely sick, another team came to heal him. And that's why I said this year, at this time, it was 1776, a lot of revolution happened. There were a lot of downfalls. Many people were killed because of this type of incident. It had a lot of effect. They sorted secretly the help of Jewish medical Kabbalistic people now. They secretly sorted these people. Most of them were scared to go, so they gave the medicines and sent it to the king. The remedies, I was told, was, I wrote it down here, a flower. There were other ingredients, but the main ingredient was a flower called gentian. It's a purple flower. It's a mild tonic, and because of the color, it turns the urine purple. Back then, there were no like proper regulators. Everything was herbs. So this was the main ingredient. I will not mention the other ingredients because I was told don't mention much. And if we look at it right now, they were saying that he had porphyria, blood genetic disorder, that heretic behavior. He didn't have that. He was under severe spell, and the spell was done well. but using his own body fluids. So that erratic behavior, and because it was already in his system, because he ate it, he was eating with the concubines. He ate it and he was affected. It caused these types of pain and aches, and he was getting headaches and bipolar episodes, and he would scream sometimes, and people didn't understand. They said he was crazy, but he was severely attacked. So the Kabbalistic medicine, which was sent towards him through one of his sages, now from his own local chapel, from his own local church, because the Jews were scared to come directly, they passed that information to the local priest and the sage, and they gave him the medicine to start to cure him. He got a little better, but then because of taking the medicine, his urine was turning blue, which raised now the medics. They were like, oh, he is sick, he is that, he is that. It went on and on and on. While this is happening, the destruction of his health, the enemies had already teamed up, took off, reached USA, collected a group, and made a deal that we can liberate you people from that king so that we can we can destroy him powerfully, because he was really like moving like a wave. He was taking so many places. He was extremely powerful with a very strong army. But that destruction which came to his life personally started to deteriorate his powers, and that is how he ended losing 15 states in USA. The traitors who flew there, they even made a deal, because they didn't have many people to fight the strong army of UK. What they did, they said, we're going to make a deal, and I'm going to give names now. We're going to make a deal. When we make this deal, for example, they were going to people who were wealthy, and they had lands and estates and slaves, and they were picking strong slaves. And what they told the slaves, we will take you to fight. If you come back, if you go to the war and we win, you come back, you're going to be set free and be given a piece of land. You'll be a free man. You're not going to be a slave, but you'll have to go to war. These people had no experience, but they were trained locally to go and beat the army which was coming from UK. They could not send a lot of people, but they sent the best experienced army. But because they had already gathered almost 15 states, so it happened that USA had more people to fight, and despite they have not much experience, than the army which came, which was strong enough to take, they were thinking it's a small group, they will take it out quickly. But they were met with a surprise that almost more than half of that army which was there in USA, they used the slaves to fight that army. So they cornered them because they were locals there. And that is how George Washington, as I said, he had no experience, but he had the know-how. They had already strategies how they will do it with the help of the opponents, and that's how they threw him off. Out of these people who were among the top fighters in the front line as slaves, they ended up being free, and their names are as follows. They were called Green Mountain Boys. Green Mountain Boys. One was called Peter Salem, very famous. And the other one was called Salem Poor, Prince Hall. Now, these people, when they were set free, you know what they did? They got a piece of land, and that is the first Black community. These three main people, calling them, there were others also, but these were the main key players, calling themselves the Green Mountain Boys. because they were slaves and then they became free. And that's a name they were given during the wartime, because these were people who were put mostly on the mountainous areas to attack whenever the caravan was coming, or the military was coming, because they knew they know how. So these three main key players, Green Mountain Boys, they were the first to launch the Freemasons, the Black Lodge of Freemasons in New Jersey. Check your history, you're going to find that. I even checked it and I was blown away. These people were slaves. Because they participated in the war, they were given their freedom and a piece of land. And because they had knowledge on what to do, most of them were farmers, some were builders. That is how the Black Freemason New Jersey Black Lodge was built. How it started, their main aim was all about the brotherhood, because now they're free. They wanted to use their skills to build. And that is why I always tell people, the real Masons, if you look at the history, it was not about sacrificing people and doing crazy ritual. They were coming together. It's because they were trying to revive themselves after being freed. Check, you'll find New Jersey. And it was in July 1775, Bunker Hill. That's the war they fought. It started that time. There was training and training from 1775 onwards. 1776, the damage was done. But these guys got themselves freedom, and that is how they established the first Black Lodge of Freemasons. No spells, no nothing. It was the liberation of the Green Mountain Boys teaming up together to use their skills to create something so that it can generate income. And that is how they were building. They were masons. Their job was to build. They were taking contracts and building. That is how they started their launch as masons. Skills which liberated after liberation, so that they can generate income. That's what happened back then. So if you look at that, do you see we will experience people here right now. They will go through name killing, especially if you have a potential. I'm going to use my example myself. When you have a potential and someone knows you're going to be a threat in their work, in their business, if you enter this field of work, they will kill your name first before you even enter the field. They will kill your name, then get rid of you. So just like George, he was left to suffer, and he suffered and he suffered, but he was not a crazy man. He was extremely intelligent. Too much power in his hand, which was a threat, and so they had to use things around him to harm him. Sorry. How did this affect him? How it affected him? This is why it was also this time when these things happened. After this incident, and when the Roman Empire came to find out about everything, King George was that slap of reality. The church felt like it was severely abused by the warlocks, of which now now I'm telling you, it came out, it was one of those people who were also traitors in the church, because they wanted that reputation that they're going to heal a king. Somebody sold that information in desperation to get cure, to go and heal the king, and landed with that information to a warlock group, whereby he didn't know. He was working with the warlock behind the scenes, so he betrayed the church, yeah. But he didn't expect that the repercussion will be that even those church members who are going to go there to heal and the sages were going to be killed halfway and be replaced. So when this information came out, that is how the wrath came in. Some priests had to take their lives themselves because they failed. They felt like they failed God. Back then, the church was a very, very strong body in the European Peninsula. It was a very strong body. That's why I'm telling you, the Holy Roman Vatican Church Empire was ruling almost every part of Europe. Almost every part of Europe. When that happened, everything went like a domino effect. Already there was so much abuse going on in the church, but this was like the last nail in the coffin. So priests started taking their lives out, despite it was a sin, but they felt the humiliation and they knew now the empire was falling because of too many scandals and too much deception from those people who were around those churches. They were betraying the house of God, working and teaming up with the wrong people out of greed. They never thought that it will escalate to such wrath. Why this happened? It's Pluto. The empire had to die. There had to be a revolution, because had it still been there, the church would have continued to be abused again and again. So the whole structure had to be destroyed. This effect went as far as, that's why we just gave a brief meeting. I can't talk so much. It's a long story. I'm telling you, I can tell you for 3 hours. This effect, that's why because Vatican was already connected to Egypt. Egypt, everybody was in search of this secret remedy which came from the Kabbalistics. So these people were not resting. They went until there to find some of the main schools of Kabbalah, which was on the border near Egypt, as currently we are talking about. The graves are there. When the Kabbalistic people refused to give these secrets, but that's why I'm also allowed to give only this main thing, which is also, you can find it also on the internet, because when they told me and I confirmed and it was true, and they gave me the other ingredients, but I was told don't share it. Because they took an oath. They made an oath that when you do, when you carve, these teachers who come and teach you, you are always given an oath. Okay, this is information is for you. This is what you share, this you don't share. That's why you can't find it in books, and it's a secret, Kabbalah. So what happened is they went to seek sources of these powerful Kabbalistic sages. When they reached there, the border, because Egypt had history with Rome, the Vatican, the sages refused to give them any information. It's because it was not allowed to. What happened? Massacre. They started killing those sages because they tortured them to make them give in. They never ever gave in. So they were killed. Even though the remedies were sent, the information and the secret ingredients and all that were never given out, which created that massacre. Who was that? The same way they went to the king is the same way. They pretended to be like people of God, wearing this and that, and approached them. But in reality, these were warlocks who wanted that secret so that they know that when we harm this person, if they get this remedy, they'll get better. So we want to do the opposite of it. Even though the king was severely affected, and it went on like that, and he passed on. That was the reason. He passed on with it because it was already in their system. It was they played with his, I said, body fluids, and it went to, that's why here in scientific word they're saying it was porphyria, or he had a genetic blood disorder. It was not. The same way they were saying, like Philip's mother, Prince Philip, the mother was a seer. She was a real psychic, the mother of Prince Philip. But they were saying she was a bipolar woman. Why? Because she chose to live a humble life. This woman could see the other world. And people got confused and said she was bipolar. But she was a seer, someone who could see the future. And she helped guide secretly the kingdoms for a while. So the same thing goes with King George. He was not mad. It was a murder of title. And when that happened, and they got him properly, they then murdered him. History repeated itself. History repeated itself. That was in 1776. Later came another George. And this George passed away on 21st of January. The other King George. He was severely sick also, and it is declared he was poisoned. He was poisoned. So this other King George also went through the same thing. How I'm going to tell you something, and that's why I'm telling you, if I'm scared even for myself, I don't want the British to come and attack me and their men in black, but there is something which is tied. And this is the time, that's why I said it's a secret I'm giving you. This is the time it's needed to be broken, because when the shift takes place, it's a 248 years. Remember, from 1776, this curse is locked under the name of George. And it has been passed on again and again and again. So in that lineage of the royalty, pay attention to the Georges. How have they been living? There is always something that happens to them. There will always be something about their works in their history. There's always something about their personal life. This tag was tagged 248 years ago, a heavy spell by the warlocks, something which created this entire phenomenon whereby empires even were destroyed. Because everyone, that's what I'm telling you, you are who you hang out with. Everyone who was guilty by association, knowingly and unknowingly, got affected. And it keeps on passing on and on and on. But this is the time when this planet goes to 0 degrees. Right now it's in 29. That's the site that it's a degree of psychic. 28, 29 is a degree of psychic. And also when you take 2 and 9, it comes to 11. It's the master number of master healer. This is the time this old generational royal curse, which was tagged under the name of George, that can be broken. So this goes to the royals. You have George. We know William also has a George. This is the time they have to utilize how they can break this spell. Either you do national prayers because it's kingdom, you are royals. And so I'm telling you, I'm really even scared to give more information because I don't want to hear. And your eyes locked, black car, and you're gone. I don't want that. I'm here to help. Yes, I tap and I give this, I get this info, I share it. And this is just one kingdom. I've not even tapped to the others. I think I will continue for part 2 because I'm tired of talking. I'm telling you, I feel sick. But this is the time that curse can be broken under the name of George. The whole George royal lineage has a lock, like a padlock, and a tag which has been put on them for the last 248 years. And Pluto was the planet which was used to destroy them under Saturn. They were locked in the Saturn ring, occultically. And everybody who was among those people trying to help them, they all got affected. So that is the secret, what happened back then. A powerful empire ended up losing power because of destruction. And a very small person who was given power, George Washington, managed, because of the help of the deceptors, to to win the same George. That's why I was telling you. They were marched. I'm telling you, occult is crazy. G.W., George William Frederick, George Washington, they have the same vibration. Letter-wise, G, G, W, W. And they brought these two people to clash. So they had to use the same frequency to bring this. First, they had to bring him down mentally, because George Washington, there was no way he was going to beat him. So they had to first finish him mentally and health-wise, then use the same GW to cover him. A very strong occultic secret. And until now, this tag is hanging in the royal bloodline under the name of George. So it needs to be opened. If you can hold national prayers, or if you can hold something for yourselves in private, but I will personally suggest go for national prayers, because that's your bloodline, that's where you rule, and the land, your people walked in that land. You need a proper cleansing, the whole state, the whole kingdom. Because if that doesn't work, the next upcoming higher will not last. I'm gonna be honest, and I don't want to be attacked by William. The next higher will not last in that seat, because it's already on. They have shifted. This is 11:29 degrees right now. It's 11. And when Pluto shifts to Aquarius, 11, it's about the future. If this doesn't get healed now with this master healer number frequency, then that energy will change its frequency. Let me show you. You see? Too many. This is spells. I told you liquids were used. Several liquids. And it was women who were used to do the job. Defense is needed. It's time to defense, to protect yourself. Even though he also got the help and people stood up, powerful people, to protect him, but this spell, they had all the tools to destroy him. And the worst part is they got very close to him. He was locked. Don't look at the figure, male or female. He was a male. He was locked. So this is what I was telling you. The lock, which is under Saturn. And when you look at the 8th house, it's the house of death and transformation. And this planet now can liberate you, because it's the planet of what? Revolution, destruction, death. Because whatever goes with Pluto, it burns to ashes. It never comes back. So this is the time this can be destroyed. You'll understand why I told you 21st is very significant for you people. It was all about what? Generational wealth. Because they needed to stop him from becoming greater and bigger. So they had to lock him. And if this is not healed, that is how also this monarchy now, because if the big fail came in 1776, this year, heading to 2025, 2026, the monarchy will feel the vibe. You can lose a big portion of power. You see, things will come to a standstill. That's why it needs to be healed. It needs, and that is why God gave me this information to come and pass it through you. Of course, not direct, my guides. I speak with the light. I don't work with the dark, even though people judge me here. It's okay. But I always tell you, if I get a message for anyone, I get it. And this is just the beginning. I have for kingdoms also of Saudi Arabia, the ultimate betrayal which came, but that betrayal gave the rise of the Saud, and that's how the kingdom was now given birth to. But I don't think I can do it today. I think tomorrow I'll film again because I'm really feeling it. Even the scientific part, I will maybe continue a little bit and then I will stop. This is so much info. I told you I was up until almost 3, 4 in the morning. Meanwhile, those people who are holding Bilal, I'm seeing silent. He has not moved. Move him quickly. Please help me. Move him quickly to go and bath himself, and he needs to go to bed. If I go silent, that's the thing. That's what I'm telling you. It's hard for me. I'm one person. It's already 22:33. I'm one person. I need to do this. I want to do that. It's hard. So I need someone who will keep that digital nanny thing. I'm a Libra. And I've come here to bring the justice. My job is to bring justice. And if you see, it's defense. It's the defense. Maybe there's a significant. I'm in green. I'm in red. It's making me warm here. But you all, this might just saying. But you can just tell yourself.